absent this evening. The purpose of this is a public hearing to discuss the budget and proposed tax rate for the 2016-27 school year. Ms. Ludwig?
Good evening. For the public hearing tonight, we will be discussing three different budgets that are legally required to be adopted at the level of the Board of Trustees. That would be the General Fund, the Debt Service Fund, and the Child Nutrition or Food Service Fund. And then we'll also talk about the proposed two-part tax rate, which is the Mmo rate and the INS rate. The General Fund is by far our largest fund. We're presenting a balanced budget of $247,162,205. Values were certified as of July 27th, 2016. Net taxable values that were approved and certified were $12.675 billion and $398.014 million of values that are under review by the ORB, and then an additional $52.296 million that are not certified and are not under ARB review or protest either. The total is about $13.1 billion. The increases in values for the last few years are 9.43% for the current year, which is the 2016 taxable value over the 2015 taxable value. Last year, the rate was a little bit over 11% and 8% the year before that and 4% the year before that. A quick calculation of our Mmo Tax Revenue. You'll see that $13 billion budget value at the top. And then we apply a $1.04 rate, and that's per $100 valuation. We add the frozen taxes of about $11.6 million to that, and the collection rate of 98.5%, and that gives you property tax revenue of roughly $145.87 million. We have also reduced that for about $3.1 million, giving us, and that's for the flood reappraisal estimate. So net property tax revenue is $142.764 million. State funding that we're reporting in the general fund is about $7.2 million in per capita apportionment and $79.9 million in foundation school program revenue for a total of $87.144 million. That includes our Pendleton ISD incentive aid. We're using attendance growth of about 6.4% and a 96.5% attendance rate. A summary of the 2016-17 general fund expenditures by category, showing the $247.162 million budget, shows that 6,100 payroll and benefit costs approach $207.7 million, and the second largest category is professional and contracted services of about $23 million. Our big ticket items or highlights of the general fund include salaries of $173.21 million, benefits at $34.5 million, and a few other things, $1.31 million for property and liability insurance, $1.2 million for fuel, about $8 million for utilities, and then about $1,035,000 for CAD fees and tax collection fees. We have budgeted funds for accelerated instruction in compliance with House Bill 5. And again, we are presenting a balanced budget. The tax rate needed to fund the general fund budget is $1.04, roughly 1.04005 per $100 valuation, and that's no increase over the 2015-16 tax rate. Continuing at the debt service fund, we are recommending a revenue budget of $51.823 million with 48.593 million of that being property tax revenue, plus about 550,000 for delinquent taxes, penalties, and interest. We are reducing that by $1.046 million for the flood property reappraisals within that fund. We have a small amount of interest budgeted for bank interest on bank deposits and investments of $10,000. We are using capitalized and accrued interest of $3.22 million and a slight amount of prior year debt service reserve funds. We are also asking that we commit a piece of the general fund balance of $500,000, just in case we need to make a transfer to this fund. We don't expect to, but that's in a different agenda item this evening. The expenditure budget for the debt service fund is $52.149 million. We are reducing, we have been able to reduce that expenditure budget because of the remarketing and the conversion of to the 1% interest rate on the variable rate bonds. And also we have estimated the principal and interest on the sale of the final installment of our 2014 bond referendum authorized bonds. And that's about we'll be selling about $95 million this winter. The fund balance at the end of the current year, 8/31/16, is estimated at about $7.8 million. And after the activities in the next year, we think we'll have about $4.321 million remaining in that fund balance. The tax rate needed to fund this budget is 35 cents per $100 valuation, which is the same rate as the current year. Moving into the Child Nutrition Fund, those revenues are generated from breakfast and lunch sales, TRS on behalf payments, and federal reimbursements. Total revenues are roughly $13.5 million. We are also proposing a balanced budget there of $13,511,350, with the largest two categories, again, of costs being payroll and benefit costs of $6.3 million and supplies and materials at $6.76 million. All right, moving on to the tax rate. We're proposing a two-part tax rate, one part being for maintenance and operations and the other being interest and sinking, which is our debt service fund. We did publish our rollback rate and the other required items. The rollback rate published was 1.410288. The tax rate that we're proposing is again 1.39005, which is the same as the current tax rate, and it's the same breakdown at about $1.04 for M&O and 35 cents for interest and sinking. And that concludes our report.
Do we have any questions or comments from the audience?
I have a comment, actually. First of all, again, we thanked you the other day, but thank you so much for all of the work that you did on this. I know that it was so stressful the last few weeks, especially after those reappraisals came back.
I have a great team.
Well, we're so happy about that. So anything that we can do to continue to support your office and your staff, please let us know. And the other statement I want to make is one to Dr. Bowen. And after looking at the numbers and the fact that even through the hit that we took with the $4.2 million with the flooding, our teachers still got a raise. We increased the raises of our paras, which makes a big difference to a lot of these families. So I just want to thank all of you. I'm sure everybody had a hand in it. Thank you.
Everybody did.
Any further comments? There being none, we will
Thank you.
call this to close at 6:39. And we'll reconvene at 7 o'clock. Thank you. We do have a quorum with Mr. Torres and Ms. Kaminsky being absent, and we will begin the meeting with a moment of silence, as you could observe as you so choose. Thank you very much. And would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for attending, and we'll start off. Do we have any recognitions or awards?
We do not have any recognitions or awards this evening, Mr. Chairman.
I would like to do a couple recognitions that have popped up in the newspaper. The first is the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting awarded to the district for the 16th year in a row. So, well done. Also, congratulations to Lamar Junior High Principal Creighton Jaster, who received the Distinguished Administrator Award from the Texas Technology and Engineering Educators. Thank you. Good work. With that, do we have any introductions?
Yes, sir, Mr. President, we do have. We have 3 introductions this evening. Oh, actually 5. We had a couple more to show up.
We hired them in the last 10 minutes.
Exactly. We did some voting. First, I'd like to introduce you to the new principal at Pink Elementary, Tiffany Foster. She's joined tonight by her mom, her siblings, her daughter, and her significant other. If you guys would stand, please, that'd be great. Tiffany is an August 2000 graduate of the University of Houston with a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies. She received her master's in 2010 in educational administration from Texas Southern. She has 16 years of experience in education, including 12 years of teaching experience and 4 years as an assistant principal. And she has already started in her new role. Congratulations.
We are so happy for you. I know you're excited.
Congratulations. Look forward to a great year.
When Tiffany became the principal at Pink Elementary, it created a vacancy for the assistant principal at Pink Elementary, which we filled with Miss Makia Akinola, soon to be Thomas. Makia is an April 2009 graduate of the University of Pittsburgh with a bachelor's degree in applied developmental psychology. She received her master's in 2013 in instruction and learning from the University of Pittsburgh. She has 7 years of teaching experience, and she'll start next Monday. Congratulations.
Welcome.
The new assistant principal at George Ranch High School is Chris Cuellar. He's joined tonight by his parents, Joe and Mary, and his siblings, Sonia and Lindy. You stand, please. Chris is a May 2001 graduate of Louisiana State University with a bachelor's degree in music education. He received a master's degree in 2014 in administration and supervision from the University of Houston, Victoria. He has 15 years of teaching experience. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Great.
The new assistant principal at Adolphus Elementary is Leanne Emery. Leanne is an August 1989 graduate of Central Michigan University with a bachelor's degree in English. She received her master's in 2000 in administration and supervision from the University of Houston, Victoria. She has 19 years of teaching experience and 8 years of experience as a GT facilitator. Welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
Welcome. Congratulations.
Our last introduction this evening is another assistant principal at George Ranch High School, Judith Momani. Judy is a May 2005 graduate of Xavier University with a bachelor's degree in biology and chemistry. She received a master's in 2009 in biology from Prairie View A&M University and a second master's in 2013 in educational administration from Lamar University. She has 7 years of teaching experience and has also started in her new role. Congratulations.
Hit the ground running. Congratulations.
Congratulations. the last few days, my right arm and my hand has gotten much stronger after welcoming the large quantity of new folks we have in the district. Do we have any audience speakers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are now at the portion of the meeting when the board allots time to hear persons who desire to make comments to the board. Persons who wish to speak to the board must sign up to do so as they arrive and then must indicate the topic about which they wish to speak. No presentation shall exceed 5 minutes. Delegations of more than 5 persons shall appoint 1 person to present their views. The board will hear the concerns, but the board cannot deliberate, discuss, or make a decision on any subject that is not posted on the agenda. Persons who speak to the board cannot complain about a district officer or employee in open session. Such concerns are heard in closed session after a reading of the agenda item has occurred. As you come forward, would you please state your name and your address? Our first speaker is Karen Mendoza.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Randall. My name is Karen Mendoza. I reside at 414 Bloom Road, Rosenberg, Texas. I've been a resident of Rosenberg for over 40 years. Here alongside with me are our friends and support team, Ms. Melanie Arizmendez and Ms. Lexi Rodriguez. We're here this evening to ask the board to vote in favor of the resolution that is before you this evening to recognize September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. This is very dear to our hearts. As you know, I came here last year asking for you to also recognize September the same way, because Aubrey, my granddaughter, has been battling cancer since the end of 2014. Since her diagnosis, we've learned of many children here in our community from ages of infant to the age of 13 are attending our schools, part of our community, who are battling some form of childhood cancer. Like you to know that upon being diagnosed in the middle of her pre-K school year, Aubrey had to be withdrawn from school and placed on home studies. A year ago, when we asked the board to recognize September as Childhood Cancer Awareness, in doing so, you encouraged the students of all ages, staff, parents to get involved in some way. We're happy to see the various fundraisers and efforts that the school district, from elementary to high school, did. Aubrey's school, Travis Elementary, did an outstanding job. Even though she was homebound the first semester last year, they had a coin collection from September to December, and they also designed t-shirts, sewed t-shirts. Students could buy the t-shirts, parents could buy the t-shirts, staff. And the kids were then given the option the first Friday of every month to wear their Aubrey t-shirt in support. So when Aubrey came back to school in January of this year, she was welcomed with a banner with her students, her classmates holding signs, welcoming her. They presented her with the fundraisers that they collected. And I also saw Lamar Junior High, Lamar High School, other schools doing some type of fundraiser and giving back some type of act of kindness to either a child in their school or someone that they knew or a charity. And so we're just asking for y'all to do that same recognition. It does help these students. It helped Aubrey a lot because when she was able to go back to school, she was welcomed with open arms, even though she had no hair. And the students are very kind to her. You have an outstanding homebound department. Mrs. Williams did an outstanding job, kept her on track. Aubrey studied 7 days a week so that when she returned to school, she would be on track, and she was able to graduate kindergarten with her classmates, and she's excited about going into first grade. She did lose her hair again, and so we're dealing with the hair loss and trying to encourage her to hold her head up high and just be normal as can be. So please vote in favor of the resolution that's before you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
is all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Now moving to the approval of minutes, may I have a motion to approve the July 19th, 2016 special meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of July 19th of the special meeting workshop.
Ms. Tanner, second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of July 21st, 2016, the regular board meeting?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the regular board meeting, July 3rd.
Could I have a second with that, please?
A second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Could I have a motion to approve the August 4th, 2016 special meeting workshop?
Make a motion to approve the August 4th special meeting workshop.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. Motion to approve the August 4th, 2016 special meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the August 4th, 2016 special meeting.
And a second?
Second.
Dr. Harrell, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Moving on to board member reports.
I'll go
Stand.
first.
All right.
We've been real busy lately. We did not have a actual technology committee meeting. We did get some information, and just a couple highlights that I want to make is that, first of all, I know that they've worked very hard all summer getting all the schools ready and with all the updates, and they are coming to us in September with an agenda item to replace the iPads, and this is the iPad refresh that's part of the 2014 bond, and I know that we need to take care of this. And the other, tomorrow, and I don't know what the number is, but they've said, as of, with the last 2 weeks to go on this paper, that 17.5 hours of the students that did the Waterford program, the pre-K of the 7 different schools, and they will have their graduation tomorrow at 10 o'clock at Lamar High School Auditorium. And do we have a number of how many kids might be getting there? Okay, okay. But this was very exciting for several of us to go to last year, and I know it's going to be fun to see these kids come in tomorrow and get their reward.
Absolutely.
So, and also I just want to say, between the 2 new teacher breakfasts, the 3 sessions of convocation, and the new teacher dinner last night, you're right, we have met everybody.
At
We've
least
met
once.
at least once, if not twice. And I do want to thank everyone from Dr. Randall on down, the personnel, the cabinet, because this was a great kickoff to the beginning of this year, and the excitement out there is contagious, and I can't wait to see how it transfers into the classroom for all the kids.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other reports?
I was just going to share a story and kind of piggyback on what Ms. Tenziger said. So at the new teacher banquet last night, I saw actually a patient of mine that I didn't even know she was in education, but she taught in a neighboring district. I won't mention any names. Anyways, and she could not stop just going on about the enthusiasm level, how hospitable, just overwhelmingly fun, she said, that her intro to Lamar has been, and from her coworkers, administrators, Janice Knight, Leaf and crew, Dr. Randall, everybody, she said it was amazing. She said convocation was the best thing she's ever been to, she said. And anyways, she just could not stop gushing about how happy she was to be here. And so anyways, it left a very big impression on her. She actually made the comment, she was like, neighboring district, boring. So I just think Dr. Randall and everybody does such a great job of really creating an energy and a motivation level that has to spill over into classes. It's just got to. Thank you.
Thank you. I will give a brief update on the 2014 bond activities from the facilities team meeting. Carl Briscoe, Bentley Elementary, school number 24, if y'all haven't gotten the name down yet, it's number 24. Steel framing is complete and metal roofing is progressing, so we're getting something covered out there. Wall framing has begun in the admin and kindergarten areas, and masonry walls are starting to go up in the gymnasium and cafeteria. And the road improvements out there are waiting approval from the state, and we expect that shortly. Kathleen Jorgen Lindsay Elementary School 25, the foundations are actually being constructed, so we've got stuff that's in the ground, not out of the ground, but we're in the ground out there. Concrete floor planks will begin arriving soon, and site utilities are being completed. New elementary school design phase, we're expecting schematic design to be presented in September for board approval, and we got a preview of that this afternoon. It looks really great. And no sites have been identified at this time, but we hope to remedy that very shortly. Pink Elementary School repairs, we've had 2 phases of that. Phase 1 has been completed to stop the water entering the building, and lots of underground work there. And Phase 2, the building repairs are planned for next summer. Support Services Facility, we're expecting schematic design to be presented to the board in September for approval. And Phase 1 will construct a new maintenance facility on the new site, and Phase 2 will renovate the existing support facilities for purchasing, food services, and graphic arts. Later on this evening, we will address the practice swimming pools and the baseball complex at Terry High School, so I won't go into detail on that. The band hall additions at Terry High School and Lamar High School, schematic designs for the new rehearsal halls are being finalized, and plan to bring designs to the board for approval in September. Huggins Elementary, new parent drive and parking. Bid award recommendation for the new parking lot and on-site parent drop-off is on the agenda for approval tonight. The award is within budget, and work would begin right after Labor Day. We got chiller replacements all across the district. Design is underway for replacing 8 chillers in 6 schools. We plan that to begin in January. So a lot of activity. If there are no other reports, we move on to Superintendent Reports.
Mr. President, I want to thank the board members that attended either the orientation, new teacher dinner, or convocation. The staff was really, really excited to see you there, and we really appreciate it. And we really do believe that we're off to a good start. We've got a lot of new people to our district that they're coming in smiling, and the ones that have been here are smiling too. So we're really excited about that. And as of just a little while ago, and I say it that way because if you go to our website and you look at our growth, every minute it's changing. But we did top 31,000 as of a little while ago.
So our year-end school projections have been met today.
That's all, Mr.
Need a
President.
new projection.
New projection. Thank you, Dr. Randall. And again, before we get started, I want to thank the staff because there's such a tremendous amount of work that goes into doing everything you're doing now. And on top of that, you have to put this ridiculous book together. So we really appreciate all of your work. It's great. All right, we move into our consent agenda. All right, we will start with action items A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, A9, A10, A11. Before I ask for consent on item A12, that you had an amendment in your packet that adds the name of Valerie Vogt to that packet. And I'd ask to put that on the consent agenda with that amendment. A12 is on the consent agenda. A13, A14, A15 I'd like to pull. A16,
We're going to pull that.
A17, A18 we need to talk about. A19, A20, A21, A22, A23, A24, A25, and B1. I'll go back and repeat those to make sure we have it down. On the consent agenda, we have A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, A9, A10, a 11, a 12, a 13, a 14, a 16, a 17, a 19, a 20, a 21, a 22, a 23, a 24, a 25, and B1. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Ms. Danziger, is there a second to that? Dr. Harrell, second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you for approving the consent agenda. Let's go back to, before we get into the discussion of the other two items, I'd like to go back to item A13, the resolutions that we passed tonight, and I would ask our secretary, Ms. Danziger, to read those resolutions for us, please.
All right, our first resolution was for us to have Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And the resolution reads, whereas in the United States, almost 16,000 children under the age of 21 are diagnosed with cancer every year, approximately 1/4 of whom will not survive the disease, and whereas cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among Texas children between infancy and age 19, and whereas an estimated 1,600 children aged 19 and younger in Texas were diagnosed with cancer, and whereas in 2014 more than 200 children died from cancer in Texas before their 20th birthday, and whereas the objective of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is to put a spotlight on the types of cancer that largely affect children, survivorship issues, and help raise funds for research and family support. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Lamar Consolidated Independent School District declares September 2016 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Lamar CISD and encourages members of our community to reaffirm their commitment to fighting this terrible disease. And then we also had for Hispanic Heritage Month, the resolution reads, whereas September 15th is the anniversary of Independence Day for 5 Latin American countries and is celebrated as a major cultural event by Hispanics in this country and across the Americas, and whereas it is appropriate at this time to recognize the rich heritage and the significant contributions to American life by persons of Hispanic ancestry, and whereas schools are in a unique position to share an appreciation of Hispanics among children from all races and backgrounds, and whereas Lamar CISD schools commemorate Hispanic Heritage Month with special activities and observances. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of Lamar Consolidated Independent School District declares September 15th through October 15th, 2016 as Hispanic Heritage Month in Lamar CISD and encourages members of our community to share in this celebration of our diverse American heritage.
Thank you, Stanley. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now go to the donations to the district. The Bridge Fellowship donated $6,641 to Common Threads. John and Randolph Foster Band Parents Incorporated donated $6,400 to purchase vinyl wrap for trailers, the trailer used to transport band equipment at Foster High School. And the Friends of Lamar donated $4,000 for outdoor classroom and 4 athletic mats at Lamar Junior High. Again, thank you so much for those contributions. They just keep rolling in. Every month we have a list, and we really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now move to item 15, which is the discussion and possible action for the final scope of work and budget increase for the Terry High School baseball complex. Since this was a discussion, I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve that we discuss the Terry High School baseball complex renovations.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that?
Get to it.
That's page 111. No discussion?
Well, the motion is just to permit discussion.
It wasn't-
Change it.
It changed. It was not to permit discussion.
Yeah. So I'm making a motion that we, so I didn't know if we had to make an initial motion for discussion, but,
No,
Okay.
that was just for the,
okay. Then I make a motion that we approve the Terry High School baseball complex proposed scope of work and the new 2-phase scope as presented, and that the additional funds needed would be obtained from residual funds from the 2011 bond.
could I get that same second?
Yes.
Now, or is there any discussion?
I'll second.
All right.
A mouthful.
No
Yes,
discussion?
Well, my only question would be, Is there any additional information that the architects or presenters would like to provide us? Everything's still the same as of Tuesday? Thank you.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item is item number 18. That's on page 150. This is consider approval of schematic design for the practice pool at Foster High School. We also have at Fulshear High School and George Branch High School. Since we had two proposed designs in there, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the design as recommended by the design team, the ones that's within budget and the ones that our taxpayers approved. And I'd like to take each one of these individually with that same motion.
I will second that 3 times.
We need the motion first.
So that wasn't you. Nick.
The motion, I'd like the motion on Foster High School first, to approve the design as presented by the design team.
I will make a motion, Mr. Chairman,
have a
that we approve the design as presented by the design team that's within the scope of what the taxpayers have approved and within our budget.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll make a second to that motion.
Any discussion?
I don't know that, I'll wait for the last one.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, the motion carries. Could I have a similar motion for Fulshear High School, please?
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion that we approve the design as recommended by the design team to move forward with the practice pools within our budget as approved by the taxpayers.
May I have a second to that motion?
I'll make a second to that motion.
Stanzinger, any discussion on that one? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, the motion carries. Could I have a motion for the George Ranch High School practice pool?
Go, girl.
Since I'm an expert, I will make another motion to approve the practice pool design as presented by the design committee that is within our budget and has been approved by the taxpayers.
May I have a second to that motion?
I'll make a second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this one?
I don't know that I have a discussion. What I would like to say is I know that this has been a topic and has probably been an agenda item that's a big interest to a lot of our constituents. And on Tuesday, we were presented with the 2 new designs that were, one unfortunately was out of our budget and we could not do everything that we would have liked to do, ideally. But I was the one who pushed for those diving wells, or at least to explore the option of a diving well for the purposes of most and best use. So I would like to just reiterate that I am comfortable with what we have done with the original design that was presented to us last month. We had a lot of changes, a lot of tweaks. We had, how many lanes added? 1 full lane, 2, and then a transitional lane. There were a lot of things that were changed in that design, and we just appreciate not just the design team, but also administration listening to our concerns, because our concerns came from our constituents. And thank you. I don't know if anybody else wants to present anything or show us anything. I do know that there are probably some people in the room that are interested in what that design looks like, but I'll leave that up to someone else.
Yeah, I'll thank y'all again. We just want an opportunity to, have an idea of what's going on, listen to, the people that voted us to represent them, and make sure that all ideas, are heard. And I feel like, from the people in the swim community that I spoke to, and some of the requests made were addressed wholeheartedly, and I think I just appreciate the opportunity to kind of be involved from our side. Thank you.
And I do want to thank the design team and all the people that were involved. I know this was a lot more bigger task that you took on, because I think there were more meetings than you thought you were going to have. And I know it's a lot of time and effort, and you put a lot of thought into it, and what would be the best for all students and for yourselves in LCISD, and I appreciate everything you did. And
Since you're
thank
giving
you.
us thanks, would the swim coaches please stand up?
All those people that.
All these
were-
people that participated in that. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And with that, we will vote on the motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. In the informational items, we have, we requested the other night that we talk about the,
Just a little bit of.
a little bit of the State of Texas assessment of academic results and STAR results.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, honored members of the board, and Dr. Randall. We've come tonight to present an overview of our STAR performance update for 2016. Some items of note is that all scores that we've presented are preliminary. We have not received our final data tables from the Texas Education Agency. We should be receiving those between now and August 26th, and then we'll be receiving more specific data in December. Ratings information was released without distinction designations or specific data tables. As you've heard, all campuses in Lamar CISD met standard this year, and the district itself also met standard. We'll come back to you in September to give an overview of the distinction designations. Student level standards are increasing. Students are evaluated based on how many questions they get correct on each test. Currently, that's around 50% of the questions. Those are increasing and will be increasing 1 to 2 questions a year between now and the spring of 2022. And the issues that were well publicized with the Educational Testing Service did not have an impact here in Lamar CISD. We were able to work around it, and we were able to get good results, even though some of the circumstances were challenging at times. We did have one delay, though. All test results were delayed to school districts by 6 weeks. Normally, we'd bring this item to you in July, hence the postponement to August. Also, our timeline for campus improvement plans has been delayed accordingly, and so we'll be bringing those to you in October instead of September as we normally would. Our math performance, when we compare ourselves versus the state, in grades 3 through 8, we are ahead in every single grade level, between 4 and 13 points. So we have managed to stay ahead and managed to stay very competitive with other high-performing districts. The same with the reading performance. Our reading performance for students ranged between 6 and 15 points ahead of the state in grades 3 through 8. Our writing.
While you're there, that
Yes.
decrease in reading, I'm sorry, from,
In the 5th grade, wow.
yeah, never mind, go ahead. I've answered my own question.
Okay, no worries. Writing performance, we stayed ahead of the state average between 4 and 7% at grades 4 and 7, where the writing test is administered. Our science performance in grades 5 and 8 stayed 5 to 8% ahead of the state. And our social studies performance at grade 8 was 12% ahead of the state. EOC performance, we stayed ahead of the state in U.S. history, biology, and English 1. We did have a slight decrease below the state mean in English 2, and we're slightly below in Algebra 1. However, in Algebra 1, we are ahead of where we were last year, and we anticipate that we'll get caught up within the next year. As I mentioned at the beginning, all campuses in the district was rated as met standard, and we should know our distinction designations by August 26th. And I do put a caveat of should, because we've had other postponements during this cycle, and so that could be postponed as well. Any questions for me?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On two of those slides, both grades 8 and 5 had a significant, so the increases in those two grades were significantly different. I think maybe just go back one, or that was grade 5 for the 90%. And
Yes. Grade 5 and grade 8, one of the things we need to note is that those are the two grade levels where we have two administrations of the test. So students that don't pass the test the first time when it's administered in March get a second try in May.
So they have more of a
Those are
chance.
what we call the Student Success Initiative grade levels. And especially when we compare it versus last year in math. Last year in math, we only had one shot at it because we were transitioning to new standards.
And in the algebra, where we're behind, and even in the English too, I guess you're pretty confident that we're going to catch up in the algebra. Do we have any indication of what's causing us to be behind to begin with?
I'm going to ask Ms. Vogt to come up to the podium with me.
When we see a trend like this that's counter to the other content areas, we look at, is it a common cause or is it something that's isolated? In this particular case, it's a very isolated cause that's been addressed.
Do we know what that is? Or are you willing to share with us what?
I'll defer to.
And we can see those causes come on the campus improvement plans, is that correct?
That is correct.
Always.
Okay.
And in some instances, we had teachers that were new to the system. We had, and there were a number of those types of things that impacted that, and that's what she's referencing, that our facilitators and our principals all have identified, and we have the ability to look, I mean, every teacher, how many questions that they missed, and that's why we're confident that we feel like this year we'll be able to take and
Especially if
address
kids miss a lot of the same questions, then you get an idea of what was not presented in the
Our
classroom.
software is very sophisticated, and so when I said it's an isolated cause, we can drill down and look at which campuses are scoring outside of the norm, and then even further down to which classrooms and which students. So is it something that's unique? Oftentimes there might be a legitimate reason. There may be an inclusion class where there are some students who are significantly struggling. So we can rule out any mitigating circumstance that might have occurred that was outside the teacher's control. So when you find a situation where it is definitely an issue where it's a brand new teacher or something like that, you work with the principal and you address it. We have instructional coaches district-wide now, and they've been wonderful at going out and working with individual campuses, grade levels, and content areas. I could give you a lot of examples, but it would bore
I
you
trust
to
you.
death.
Any other questions for us?
Yeah, in Beasley, you have African-American students that scored a 91 percentile in math and reading, but you don't have a score for writing and science. What happened there?
That's because those are single grade level tests, and there's 10 or less students in those particular grade levels that are African American. And so not only are they not evaluated, but also FERPA forbids us from assigning a value to that when it's a public document.
I think I counted about maybe 9 or 10 campuses where Hispanic and African-American youths aren't faring so well. They're scoring below 60 percentile, almost at 59, in some cases in the 40 percentile. What are we doing about that?
I'll answer one part of it, then I'll defer to Valerie. Part of it is that in each of the campus improvement plans where there's an indicator below 65%, the principal has to include that in their campus improvement plan.
Those campus improvement plans go through a vetting process where they send them to various members. Closing the gap in between subpopulation groups is a part of the index system by which campuses are rated. So when they get too far out of what is considered acceptable, that's when a campus is in danger of losing their Met standard expectations. The indices are broken down, and again, we have very specialized knowledge on which teachers have been successful, which ones are having some difficulties. Ms. Stewart, who is our director of ESL, has delivered multiple trainings this summer using linguistic accommodations that help support students, any student, nationality that is a non-English speaking student. So we have a lot of specific initiatives in place like that to tighten up the gaps. And we've seen great success this year with those.
This is my 4th year on the board. And consistently Terry High School, Navarro, Wessendorf, Lamar Consolidated, George Junior High, Pink Elementary, Smith Elementary. These are all the schools in my district. These are the children I represent. And you tell me the same thing. Every year you tell me it's going to be on a campus improvement plan. What are we going to do different this year?
Well, over half of those campuses that you mentioned have new leadership.
I hope we can do more than just that. I was just at Pink Elementary the other day. And I took ice cream. I hope we can do more than that. A real focus on those schools, a real support for those teachers, for the leadership, for the budgets, to inspire, to motivate, encourage, real support, more than just a campus improvement plan, more than just a cup of ice cream. I don't know what else to say. We have to do better. We have to get the parents engaged. We have to get the community engaged.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we move into closed session. We're adjourned to closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.082 of the Open Meetings Act at 7:43.
The purchase of approximately 15.1 acres of real property located near the intersection of Myers Road and Burdette Road for use as an elementary school site, and authorize the superintendent to negotiate and execute a final sale and purchase agreement.
May I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Ms. Roberts, any discussion on that? Not all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. Thank you. Do I have any other motions to bring before the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the purchase of approximately 14 acres of real property located near the intersection of Briarwood Crossing Drive and Cooper's Hill Trail for use as an elementary school site, and authorize the superintendent to negotiate and execute a final sale and purchase agreement.
May I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Ms. Roberts, second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
None, the motion carries. Since there's no more business to bring before this board, this meeting is adjourned at,
Wait.
Future.
oh, I forgot the,
Yeah.
anything else we want, I'm trying to get out of here.
Do we want anything on next?
Anything on
month's?
next month's agenda that we haven't already?
I think we're good.
All right.
All right.
We're good.
7:58 and 2/4.
There you go.
Thank you.